62 Cardinal Lane held secrets I wish I had never, ever uncovered. The old house stood on a hill overlooking the town, a skeletal silhouette against the perpetually gray sky. We got it cheap, ridiculously cheap, and I should have known better. My wife, Sarah, blinded by the Victorian charm and the sheer square footage, convinced me it was a steal. The real estate agent, a man whose smile never quite reached his eyes, practically begged us to sign the papers. The first night was uneasy. The wind howled like a banshee, rattling the windows in their frames. Every creak of the floorboards echoed in the cavernous rooms. I chalked it up to an old house settling, a century of wood groaning under its own weight. Sarah, ever the optimist, decorated with gusto, filling the space with vibrant colors and antique furniture she'd found at flea markets. Then came the whispers. They started subtly, a barely audible murmur on the edge of hearing, like wind chimes in a hurricane. I'd be reading in the living room and catch a phrase, unintelligible but definitely there. Sarah dismissed it as my imagination, the house playing tricks on me. But then she started hearing them too. They grew louder, more distinct. We could never make out the words, but the tone was what chilled me to the bone. Desperate. Terrified. Infinitely sad. One evening, I was in the attic, trying to trace the source of a draft, when I found it. Hidden beneath a loose floorboard, wrapped in yellowed newspaper, was a box. Inside, a collection of photographs. Old black and white photos, faded and cracked. They depicted a family, the family who had lived in the house before us. A mother, a father, a young girl with pigtails and a vacant stare. In each photo, they looked increasingly gaunt, their smiles strained, their eyes haunted. The last photo sent a jolt of pure ice through my veins. The girl was gone. The mother and father stood rigidly, their faces masks of terror. Behind them, barely visible in the shadows of the hallway, was a figure. Tall. Gaunt. Its face obscured by darkness. That night, the whispers became screams. They reverberated through the house, shaking the walls, vibrating in my teeth. Sarah and I huddled together in the bedroom, clutching each other, paralyzed by fear. The screams were getting closer, circling the room, clawing at the door. Then, silence. A silence so profound it was deafening. I dared to breathe. Slowly, cautiously, I reached for the doorknob. What I saw on the other side wasn't a figure, wasn't a monster, wasn't anything I could comprehend. It was a void. A blackness so complete it seemed to suck the light from the room. It stretched out before me, an endless abyss, and I knew, with a certainty that bypassed logic, that the house was a doorway. Sarah grabbed my arm, pulling me back. "We have to leave," she whispered, her voice trembling. "We have to leave now." We ran. We didn't pack. We didn't look back. We simply ran, abandoning everything we owned to the darkness that had consumed our home. I still hear the whispers sometimes, faint echoes in the back of my mind. And I still see the void, waiting, patient, hungry. I don't know what 62 Cardinal Lane is now, but I know it's not a house. It's a gateway. And I pray, every single day, that whatever lives there stays there.